Home buying myths to unlearn right now. Home buyers today have access to a wealth of information about home buying process before they even begin talking to a real estate agent. Friends and family, social media, everyone has a lot to offer. While much of this guidance can be good or well-meaning, some may be outdated or inappropriate for your situation. With that in mind, here are some home buying myths you should be aware of and corresponding home buying truths that you should know. Myth number 1, you need 20% down payment. 20% down payment hasn't been required to buy a home for decades, if ever. Many home loans allow for a down payment as low as 3%, as your loan amount is less than the so-called conforming loan limit for the county where the home you want to buy is located. The limit for most counties currently $647,200. Just keep in mind that you will need to pay private mortgage insurance on a conventional loan if you put down less than 20% of the home's purchase price. I've got a mortgage calculator on our site, ronsiegelradio.com. You can figure a lot of that information out right there. HUD FHA loans allow for a 3.5% down payment. That's generally geared for the people that have some challenges on their credit reports. USDA RD loans don't require a down payment. Loans are backed by the Rural Development arm of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. VA loans allow for 0% down. VA loans primarily for active duty and veteran military members, guaranteed by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Small specialty loan programs may also permit very low down payments. One example is HUD Homes program. That's one issue. There's, I think, last I looked, 352 down payment assistance programs in the state of California alone. Myth number 2, your pre-approval rate is the rate you'll get when you close. This is a biggie. I hear so many people look at it, and our team will send out a pre-approval, and they say, Ron, that rate is so high. Well, of course it is. We're not offering you that rate. We qualified you with that rate. We don't know what's going to happen in the marketplace. If I could have predicted that the interest rates would have gone up this much back in February, I would have shorted the bond market and made millions and millions and millions of dollars. We don't have a crystal ball. So the pre-approval rate is something that we try and say, okay, what if the market goes up by a half or a 3/4 of a point? That's what we're going to pre-approve you at. That's not the rate that's being offered. Interest rates adjust daily. The rate you're quoted on your pre-approval is based on current market conditions, as well as factors like your loan amount, credit score, property type, and where the home is located. In general, your actual rate cannot be locked in until you find a home and sign a purchase contract with the seller. Yes, I know we have that program where you can lock it in early. Right now, I'm not sure that's a good idea, but we have it available for those that have to have it. At that time, your loan officer is going to explain your options and help you choose a rate. Big issue right there. Your locked-in rate may be higher or lower than your pre-approval rate, but be aware that locked-in rates can expire, so you should ask how long your rate lock will last. Myth number 3. You should wait to buy a home until prices are lower. Buying a home after a big run-up in prices may seem risky, but waiting carries some risks as well. There's no guarantee prices will fall. If they do, it may take a long time for them to reach their bottom. Meanwhile, you need a place to live. If you're renting, you're facing some of the fastest growth in rents on record. When prices begin to rise again due to low inventory and high demand, it may be hard to find the right home. Just think about this. A year ago, I had people calling us going crazy. The frustration was astronomical because people were making offers and they didn't get them accepted. There was all kinds of bids. There were all kinds of multiple offers on properties. We're not seeing that as much right now. So if that's the case, and it is, wouldn't you want to be a buyer when no one else is buying? Just throw that out there for you. Myth number 4, buying a home is always cheaper and a better investment than renting. Renting a home can sometimes be cheaper than buying, and home prices don't always go up and up in a neat straight line. However, a home you own is an asset that can appreciate over time. A rental may appreciate as well, but as a renter, you won't capture that additional value. The property owners will. Over time, in most instances, you're going to find out that owning your home is better than renting your home. Just throw that out there for you. Myth number 5, you have to find a home before you apply for a loan. And that's exactly the wrong thing. Fact is, getting pre-qualified, pre-approved, pre-underwritten for a loan before you shop for a home is not only okay, it's also smart. Once you're pre-qualified or pre-approved for a mortgage, you'll have an idea of how much you can borrow to buy a home. You can shop for homes in your price range, and you won't fall in love with a home outside your budget. If you're not able to get pre-approved, you'll find out what you need to do to position yourself so that you can get pre-approved. That's a big issue right there. Getting pre-approved, getting that in place, or getting the game plan in place. That's the other part of it. You may want to get that game plan in place so that, you know something, maybe you're able to take advantage of the market, and when you're ready. I know a lot of folks that, they're short 3 or 4 points on their FICO score. Most of the good credit repair people can take care of that real quick for you, real quick being 30 days or so. They just have to look at a few parts of your report and get it corrected. There's always errors on your credit report, but that can save you hundreds of dollars every single month. So big issue right there. Either you're able to get pre-approved, pre-qualified, pre-underwritten, or get put on a payment on a game plan to get there. Myth number 6, buying a fixer-upper will save you money. Fact, true fixer-uppers need a lot more than a fresh coat of paint. These homes generally have major problems that may not be visible. Even a skilled home inspector can't see inside walls. If you're looking into a fixer-upper, you should get quotes on the repairs needed beforehand. You'll have to be patient, good with finances, willing to sacrifice all your spare time to work on your home, or go into debt to get your home fixed up one way or the other to get it done. And then I'm going to tell you one other part of this. You're going to have to make sure that you put aside extra money for the unknowns. If you've got a fixer-upper that needs significant amount of work, there's always, I watch these do-it DIY shows, and I look at them and I say, how is it that you do this show all the time? You're supposedly an expert in this, and you didn't know that you were going to have these issues when it came to the end with it. You didn't have a contingency fund. Unbelievable how you watch these things, and people believe it. We're going to continue on our journey of home buying myths to unlearn right now. Myth number 7. You have to get your loan from the lender who pre-approves you. Pre-approval is a great starting point for getting a mortgage loan. You're not obligated to stay with that lender. You can shop around for a lender that makes a competitive offer and is a good fit for you. Just keep in mind that it's best practice to shop for a lender before you go under contract or lock in a rate. However, once you're under contract and have completed inspections and appraisals, it's typically not a good idea to shop around for a new lender. If you do, you'll need to notify the seller's agent of the change. Any delays or changes could put you at a higher risk of getting your offer rejected by the seller. And you can also use up some valuable time that could put your earnest money deposit in jeopardy as well. So do your homework, but make sure that once you're in contract that you're progressing in accordance with the terms of the contract. Myth number 8, you shouldn't buy until you can afford your forever home. Selling a home can be costly, but if you wait to buy until you can afford your forever home rather than buy a lower cost starter home, you may never buy at all. Or you may miss out on years of equity building and price appreciation that could offset your selling costs when you trade up to your forever home. Caveat, considering a home you already know that you'll outgrow in the very near future, it may make sense to wait until you find a home where you can stay for at least a few years. It's a common rule of thumb to only buy a home you expect to spend at least 5 years living in, and ideally longer. It's hard to know what the future holds, but some parts of careers and family life do have predictable changes. So if you're considering a home that you can only foresee growing and staying there short term, that's another one of those areas where you might want to consider renting. If you're and you don't want to be tied for job purposes. I've told a few young people, hey, you know something? Don't get tied down by real estate yet. If you're thinking that it might be beneficial for you in your career choice to be flexible, to be able to move, to go to a different area, if that's something that you want to take advantage of. Myth number 9, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is always the best choice. Never say always in anything in real estate. Depending on rate movements, adjustable rate mortgages can save thousands of dollars of interest over the life of the loan compared with a fixed rate loan. ARMs, or adjustable rate mortgages, have an initial fixed rate period and then can adjust up or down, resulting in monthly payments that can change over time. Finding the right loan program and term is kind of like picking an outfit. Everyone's going to want or need something slightly specific to fit their unique situation. ARMs are not a fit for everyone, but for many, they're worth considering. Believe it or not, in most economic environments, we actually find that the higher priced homes, $1 million up, frequently will be using a 7-year adjustable. So it's a 30-year loan, but the interest rate is fixed for 7 years because a lot of those folks are sophisticated and they realize they're marrying the home, not the mortgage. They can change that anytime they want to. Myth number 10. You can't buy a home if you have student loans. Fact, student loans can both help and hurt your chances of buying a home. The potential help comes from boosting your credit scores. If you make your payments on time, the potential hurt comes from raising your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI, which is a factor in loan approval. Student loans are not an automatic barrier. They're just another form of debt that's part of your debt-to-income calculation. Many people have student loans and a home mortgage. If you have student loans, even if they're in the deferral period, best to have a small amount of a payment. Even if the payment's like $10 a month, that's going to be better than zero, because zero means the lender, the guidelines say you have to put in an amount. Myth number 11, you have to pay the seller's asking price to buy a home. The seller's asking price is the amount the seller hopes you'll pay, but it's not necessarily the price you'll actually pay. This may seem obvious, but home prices are typically negotiated with offers and counteroffers until you and the seller agree on a price. Be sure to ask your agent for comps for a home you're interested in. This is a list of prices of recently sold similar homes nearby in order to draft a competitive offer. Go to rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com, and you can actually see what's going on in the neighborhood you're thinking of. Myth number 12. You need excellent credit to buy a home. I know, Josh, we're running over time, but I want to get this last one in. You need excellent credit to buy a home. Fact. That's a myth. The fact is, good home loans and attractive rates are available for people with less than perfect credit, as well as those with excellent credit. Who can't qualify? People who develop a habit of always paying cash for their purchases. Establishing positive trade lines and using credit responsibly is what we're looking for on a regular basis. We always want to know, what is the history. The credit scores tell us what the likelihood is of your repaying that loan or repaying that, making your payments on time. There are 12 home buying myths to unlearn right now. If you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, can I count on you for that introduction? Our number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990.